What's up, everybody? This is your boy, Mr. Pound for Pound himself, and I am definitely back in the building. I'm talking about the fight that's coming up October 23rd. You already know who it is. Sugar Shane Mosley versus Anthony Mundine, and it's going to be in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia for the vacant WBA International Light Middleweight title. Yes, Shane Mosley is fighting for the vacant WBA International Light Middleweight title. How? I don't know, but it's okay. We're going to talk about it a little bit. My man Shane Mosley, definitely a legend, living legend in the sport. When he was coming up, another fighter that I watched, similar to Canelo Alvarez, how I said, oh yeah, he's going to make it to the top. He's going to end up fighting Mayweather, this, that, and the other. I said those things about Mosley when no one knew who he was. Everyone knew who De La Hoya was. And when he beat De La Hoya, everybody looked at Mr. Pound for Pound and said, hey, man, you were right. And I said, yeah, I know my boxing. But anyways, that was the old Shane, and now we got the new Shane, which is kind of an old Shane. Actually, it is an old Shane, unfortunately. And, he's got losses on the record. His record now is 47 wins, 39 of those wins by knockout, with 8 losses and 1 fight by draw. And, to be honest, when I first seen Shane Mosley fight and I watched him, people considered him the Michael Jordan of boxing. He was considered at one point greatest all time. He was pound for pound. And, he just kind of started sliding down that hill of losses. You know what I mean? He's first started the losses with Vernon Forrest. Then he lost to Winky Wright. Then he lost to Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao, and then Canelo. I mean, he's lost to all good fighters. You know what I mean? No slouches. And then you have on the flip side, Anthony Mundine, a decorated fighter from Australia. He's been in video games. I've seen him in a few boxing games, so obviously he's a big name down there. One thing I find interesting about Mundine, and he's a pretty athletic dude. I mean, he was the highest paid player in the rugby league, over in his hometown. So he's an athletic dude, very strong. And Anthony Mundine, if you haven't seen him fight, go ahead, check out some of his fights. He's not hard to find. He's all over YouTube. I've watched a few of his fights, actually. He has a good record, 44 wins, 26 of those wins coming by way of knockout, and he has 5 losses, 2 in which where he was knocked out, by the way. I saw those. Those were pretty lovely. But, he's fought some good competitors. He hasn't lost to the people, the caliber that Shane Mosley's lost to. He's lost to some rather, more unknown name fighters than you would recognize versus like a Ronald Wright. Mundine was losing to Manny Siaka, and he lost to Sven Otke, actually. Good fighter, good fight. And by the way, I'd like to mention that was one credible point on Mundine when I was researching this guy. He lost to Sven Otke for the IBF super middleweight title. He did lose by way of a knockout in the 10th round. This fight was back in 2001, but he only had about like 10 fights or something like that prior to that championship bout, which is crazy. That's really cool. So that right there shows the guy has potential. He has some talent. At one point, he also himself was considered great and, a big name in boxing, especially overseas. I mean, Australia. And, it's going to be an interesting fight because from watching Anthony Mundine, he has a lot of good qualities and a lot of bad qualities. He has a good jab at times. He has a good one too. He's a tough, sturdy guy. My main problem with Mundine is he just stands up a little too straight. And I think, actually in one of his knockout losses, that's kind of what got him. I mean, he was standing up straight. He lost to a guy with a record of 9-1, got knocked out in the 5th round. Garth Wood, I think is his name. That's a funny knockout. Check it out. But he lost to him. And, it leaves questions because it's like, he was seasoned. Or this just happened in 2010 to where he lost to a guy 9-1. And Mundine's record's 44, 44 fights. I mean, let's see. I can go back and literally research this real quick just for you guys. because like I said, I freestyle everything. So let's go ahead and see. I'm going to research this for you because I'm actually interested. Wow. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, when Garth Wood knocked out Anthony Mundine at the time was 40-3. 40-3. Got knocked out by a guy 9-1. That's a setup fight. I mean, you're supposed to beat that guy. But that just tails back to what I'm talking about Mundine. He's a little too straight up of a fighter. His chin is okay. I wouldn't say it's the best. I wouldn't say it's granite. It's just okay. And then, you know, he's not very mobile. He's not a super mobile, super fast guy. He's not like a Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't pose a lot of threats, but he's a solid threat, if that makes sense. Shane Mosley, on the other hand, you know, he's coming off some losses. You know, he got that one win over Pablo Cesar Cano, you know, for the vacant WBC interim welterweight title. But, you know, he's coming off a string of losses. And, you know, he lost to Saul Canelo Alvarez in a unanimous decision loss. Lost to Manny Pacquiao in a unanimous decision loss. He had that ugly draw with Sergio Mora. And then he lost to Floyd Mayweather. Those are all 4 fights in a row, by the way. You know, from 2010 to 2012, that was his record. A loss to Mayweather, a draw to Mora, lost to Pacquiao, lost to Alvarez. Now, granted, all those fighters are great except for Sergio Mora, but Sergio Mora, a taller fighter, very awkward style, tough and gritty. For a smaller guy, that's always going to be a hard fight. Plus, Shane was already aged. You know, he's already aged when he fought Mora. Not the same Shane. To me, you know, I got love for Shane Mosley. You know what I mean? He's one of my biggest inspirations to even pick up gloves when I started boxing. He's a great ambassador to the sport, although he had his problems and his troubles. At one point, he did some boxing that he's done some boxing we've never seen. If you go back and you really go over some of Shane Mosley's highlights, you'll see some stuff no one's done in boxing. I mean, some foot movement, turns, quick turns, the 1-2, wop, wop. A good example, when Shane Mosley knocked down Shannon Taylor in the first round of their fight, that was one of the most beautiful textbook technical knockdowns that I think a lot of people have seen. It was a double jab, right hand to the jaw. It was a jab to the face, jab to the body. It was a throwaway jab to the body. Throwaway means you really don't care if you land it or not. It's just to make you look. And then he went upstairs with that right hand. One of the most beautiful knockdowns in boxing. But that's not the same Shane. So going into this fight, you know, we really have 2 fighters that are kind of, you know, at the crossroads. You know what I mean? You got Shane Mosley, 42 years old. Anthony Mundine, 38 years old. And, you know, they're both talking about retirement. So, I mean, I know Shane wants to stay in and fight longer. Anthony Mundine's already said if he loses his fights, that's it. If he loses this fight, that's it. He's done. So, it's going to be an intriguing fight for as long as it lasts. I hope it's not boring. I hope it's just not 2 old guys in there, you know, jiggling their fists and barely hitting each other and holding each other. But I'm going to go for some excitement. I got to go with Sugar Shane Mosley. That's my man. That's my homeboy. Sugar Shane Mosley is definitely going to get this victory. I hope he gets the victory. But I have faith that Shane can pull it off, you know. As long as he's healthy and he's in condition, Shane has all the tools to pull it off. The only thing that I'm worried about with Shane is his brain and his mind. I wonder if he's taking too much damage, and that's very possible. But Shane, I hope you know, show some light that you showed in your prime for this fight, because I love to see you knock out Anthony Mundine. I got Shane Mosley by stoppage or decision. No true prediction on KO or decision. Just want to see Mosley win. All right, guys. You have a good one. Mr. Pound for Pound. Peace.